Hi there. In this video, I'll walk you through a no-code AI agent that can scrape almost any website or social media platform you would like. And it's as simple as sending it a Slack message describing what you want it to scrape and receiving back a beefy PDF report with all the details. It's useful for things like researching your competitors or learning more about potential prospects, or even social listening, like if you want to know what people on Twitter or Reddit say about your company. I will start by showing a working example and then walking you through a detailed setup, including scraping a usual website, visual or vision-based scraping, and also scraping social media platforms. That could be a little bit more complex. The templates are free, the link is in the description below, you can download it and try it yourself. Just promise me to like and subscribe if you end up using them. So we'll start in a Slack. I created a channel called Research, and my AI bot hands out here and takes order for any company I want to do a research on. So you can see in the last couple of days I've been playing with it and ask it to write me a few reports. But let's do one together. Please research Shopify. I used to work for Shopify, so this platform is dear to my heart. Okay, first it confirms a website with me. I ask it to do that because some companies might have the same name and I want to make sure that it's exactly the company that I meant before it starts on the report. Okay, and now it offers me different types of research it can do. For example, brand positioning, social media sentiment analysis on Reddit or from Twitter, also LinkedIn activity, YouTube presence, news report, blog posts, reviews, etc. So this way I can select what reports I want or what chapters I want to have in my report. But for this example, let's just go with full report. Okay, well, it actually took it less than a minute. Let's hope it's good. Okay, so it looks like we got a nicely structured multi-page PDF. It starts with a summary. This report provides a thorough analysis of Shopify recent business development. Key findings indicate that Shopify is actively expanding its operation through a new office in Bellevue, Washington, strategic partnerships, integration of artificial intelligence into employee roles. Customer sentiment is a mixed bag. While Shopify is praised for its user-friendly platform design features, faces significant criticism regarding customer support. The brand maintains a strong identity centered around empowerment and versatility. Okay, so this is a great, pretty detailed, I would say, summary. And then it goes into the detail on each of the topics that we asked it to research. So recent business development, expansion, partnership, AI integration policy that you probably have heard of, product launches, app integration. Okay, this is pretty interesting. Blog content strategy analysis. The Shopify blog showcase a comprehensive content strategy geared towards supporting entrepreneurs. That was always the main line. So a recent blog post. That's it. Let's look at brand clarity assessment. Well, core message, be the next big thing, and the one commerce platform behind it all. Brand perception goal, Shopify aims to position itself as an all-in-one commerce engine, enabling business growth at every stage. Target audience, entrepreneurs and small businesses. Secondary audience, developers, enterprise clients, and global merchants. I like that it separates kind of primary and secondary audience. It also breaks down the personas. Design language, tone and style, sleek, confident, forward-looking, colors, dark background with neon highlight greens, purples, and suggest modernity. Well, let's actually look at it. That's yeah, that feels like it got it right. So what we did here, we actually take a snapshot of the website and analyzed messaging and also kind of feelings through that the brand is trying to communicate through color and typography. Okay, let's go to the next one. Shopify LinkedIn strategy. What type of CTAs are used? What's the average engagement? Post frequency? Top post examples. Yeah, we can see opportunities, content gap. While they cover a variety of topics, Shopify could explore more about customer retention strategies and in-depth interviews. The report on Shopify YouTube channel has total views, number of subscribers, top 3 most watched videos, Shopify review insight. So this is where the customer satisfaction, 1.3 out of 5. This is not that good. Gives a few examples of most recent reviews, provides opportunities, even highlights specific feature requests. Then there is a Twitter sentiment analysis. This is a social listening part that I was talking about. Many users highlight Shopify's reliability and ease to use, negative feedback. The same for Reddit. So we have positive mentions of clean UI and ease of integrating, common frustration around payment processing issues. I think this agent does a very good job with writing this report. I wouldn't call it detailed report. I think it's pretty brief. Depends, of course, on how deep you want to go on a specific company. However, there are some shortcomings. The agent actually used the specific tools that I provided it with, and it's quite rigid in this sense. For example, it only looked for reviews on TrustPilot. It didn't go and look at Capterra or maybe some other websites that have reviews. It also didn't search information about brand outside of website itself. And I think that there is a huge opportunity to connect the deep research brain with the scraping tools that I built. If you're interested in seeing, let me know in the comments. So to build that AI agent, I use a tool called Na10, and if it's not your first time on this channel, then you probably know about it already. The way I organize this workflow is I have a main agent scraper file, and you can see here it receives messages from Slack and it sends Slack messages. It has AI agent brain that basically talks to us and communicates with all other tools. And then it has a bunch of tools that it can use to do this research and prepare it for us. And each of these tools, aside of the website search, it's actually an individual workflow. So here, recently Na10 launched folders. So I have an agent scraper folder here. You can see there is agent scraper, and then there is a bunch of different tools. Each tool has a individual workflow, but they're all pretty similar. So I will show you how I built some of them, and you will get an idea. It also means that it's pretty easy to increase the capabilities of this agent just by adding more tools. Okay, so let's go node by node, and we're gonna start with our Slack trigger. Actually, before we dive into specific nodes, what I want to do is I want to go to executions and select an execution that we just ran, copy it to editor, and this way we're going to see data that passed through our nodes. So this is going to make it a little bit easier to talk about them. So we're going to start with a Slack trigger, and this is a trigger that starts the entire workflow. When we send a message in the research channel on Slack, it basically triggers our AI agent to talk to us. And there is not much to do with this node, except you need to set up your credentials for it. Well, there is a couple ways to set up credentials with Slack, but only one of them is available for Slack triggers. And for sending a message, you can just kind of sign in with Slack, and it's pretty easy. But if you want to use Slack message as a trigger, or if you want a Slack bot to be sending messages on Slack, and not just your user sending messages on Slack, then you need this second way to authenticate, which is through access token. And it then has a great docs explaining in the details how to do that, but I will show it to you. So where you want to go is api.slack.com/apps. And here I have all my apps. You might not have anything, so you will need to click create a new app. And it will basically bring you to the page that looks like this. Here on this page, you go to Auth permissions, and you will need to give scope of permissions for your Slack Na10 bot. So I gave it permissions to read mentions, channel history, channels read, chat write, files read, files write. It's quite a lot of permissions. After you do that, there is a bot user authentication token that you can copy, go back to your Slack integration, and you can provide it here. After that, there's going to be a button available for you to install your bot in your Slack workspace. So you click that. And then we still need to do a few more things. For Trigger to work, we need to set up webhook, and we go to event subscriptions for that. Here is our request URLs. As you can see, when you create your Slack trigger, you have webhook URL here. So you can copy it and paste it here. In your case, it's going to be empty field. And it then actually have test URL and production URL. I use production URL because my flow is in active state. But when you are testing, you also might want to use test URL. So you copy the one that you need. I recommend to start with test URL, and then you can just click change the way I did it here and swap it for production URL. Then we need to give bot permissions. Actually, we are subscribing to specific events. So I guess it is permissions to listen for those events. So here I just gave it 3 events. It's app mentions, it's to message specific channels, and message groups. Another thing that I want to highlight here, option to ignore messages from the bot itself. Your bot is listening for messages in this channel, you send it a message, bot responded to this message, and that triggers an infinite loop of bot responding to their own message. So you want their messages to messages from Slack goes to our AI agent. It's pretty simple. By default, I believe it's going to set up connect chat trigger node. But since we're using Slack trigger and not chat trigger, we want to switch it to define below and prompt user message. We just take our message from Slack trigger, which is text, and drag and drop it here. Then in a system prompt, that's where we're going to put all the logic for our AI agent. Here I tell it that it's a helpful assistant and its goal is to take users' requests and guide them through a structured research process. Then I give it kind of step-by-step instruction of what to do. Identify the company they want to research, confirm it with user, propose a scope of research based on the available tools, confirm it with user, begin the research using the appropriate tool. Our AI agent needs a brain, and so I'm using OpenAI GPT-4 mini model. That's totally fine, but if you feel like it's not doing a good job, you can just change it to another model. I use simple memory, and we need that in order for our bot to remember the conversation. If you basically expect bot to respond to the previous messages and have that context, you want to add simple memory to it. I will show you the details of this in a second, but first let's look at the post message. We already have credentials. Then we just select where we want to send it. We put a JSON output from our AI agent here. And then I want our agent to respond in a thread. I think this way it's going to be much easier to manage it than having it in the channel. So for that, I added an option to reply to a message. And here I have this function. So basically, if we haven't started a thread yet, then we're going to respond to a message. But if we started the thread, then we're going to respond to the last message in that thread. Okay, and here is our simple memory, and similar to the AI agent himself, you need to switch from connect chat trigger node to define below. And as a key, we're going to provide exactly the same JavaScript expression that I explained at the Slack message node. And then our AI agent has tools, 3 tools here. I called report tools, and then a bunch more specific scraper tools. First is a website search, and website search allows our AI agent to find a web URL. And we actually specified within our prompt. Here in those more detailed instruction, I say if the user hasn't provided a company website, first use website search tool to find it. And then we have a start report tool. So the way this build is all our scrapers are going to be scraping information, doing analysis, and posting this analysis into a specific cell within this spreadsheet. It's already HTML formatted. We just use this spreadsheet as a database. So in order for us to start using this scraper, we first need to create a new record in this spreadsheet. So as you can see, we use the company URL as an identifier. So we first received that company URL from web search. We confirmed it with the user. And so this tool's job is to create a new record within that spreadsheet. I'll show you how to do this in a second. And the last step is to finalize the report. So after everything is done with our scrapers, we want to take every cell of that spreadsheet and we convert it into PDF. And so this finalize report tool does exactly that. And we control the order through this prompt. So always conclude every task by calling the finalize report tool to complete and generate final report. Okay, so now what these tools look like on the inside. Well, first of all, how do you create a tool? Just drag and drop from tools and you see the options that you have. You can call N8N workflow tool, you can use code tool, HTTP request, hot topic, MCP client tool, and a bunch of other kind of pre-programmed integrations that N8N provide. So website search is just a simple HTTP request, but start, report, finalize, and actually any other scraper I have, it's a call N8N workflow tool. So I will show you how it works. Here we provide a name for this tool. And then in our prompt, we calling out that specific name. We're requesting it to work with this name. We write a description explaining how this tool works. And here from the list, we can select any tool that any workflow that we already built within N8N. Let's remove this one. Let's quickly go through website search. Here we have a description, and they use a third-party service called Tavily to do research. It's basically a search engine that you can call using API. And what you need is your API keys. So I created API keys here, and you will need documentation. It's very simple. You can see that we took URL from here, and then we are sending headers. In this case, I have a header that's called authorization, value provided using field below. This is where I pasted my API key. And then I send body. Again, his example, right? Like with all the parameters that I'm using. It's very simple. JSON, I say query, company name, and max result 10. So this is how many results for this search I want to get. And this is a search, what I'm searching for. So company name is a placeholder, and this HTTP tool allows us to set up these placeholders. So I set up in a placeholder definition company name, and I described it as provide company name so you can find their website. Next, let's look at the start report tool. And so start report tool has a name. Call this tool first to save the company URL to your database. Workflow, here from the list of workflow, I selected a start report. But of course, in order to select it here, I first needed to actually create that workflow. So as a trigger, I use executed by another workflow. And here I created field, company URL, and string. So this is a fields that we expect to get from our main workflow. And then we have a spreadsheet, very simple. You need to connect your Google Sheet account. You select the right sheet and you map each column manually. So you can remove all this. We only need company URL that we received from the main flow. One thing that I want to show you is how to test these things without going to the main flow. You can provide a placeholder data. I really like how N8N makes it easy. So here we can set up this little JSON variables, company URL. Okay, save. And now if we click test workflow, you can see it provided company URL. And if we didn't have anything here, we would just drag and drop company URL. Let's go back to our AI agent. Once we selected the right subflow, what we will see is there's going to be a workflow input. So since our workflow expect to receive company URL, we're going to see it here. You can either write the expression yourself, Or now when I then have this magic button that you click and just allow your model to define it automatically. And model is doing a great job defining it. I never had problems with it, so it's all good. And then the finalized report, very similar. We need name, we need a description, and we select a workflow that we created to finalize report from our list. I will show you how the workflow is organized. Our flow starts with when executed by another flow trigger, and then it has a spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet, we are looking for a specific company. So we are looking for a company that matches our company URL, which is Shopify in our example. Here is all the data that we have in our spreadsheet database, right? So here we have on the left Shopify, and we created a bunch of reports for it. After that, we just want to combine these reports in one giant text block, and we use a little bit of HTML, like break line, to create space between that. Otherwise, they're going to be all merged together. Then we pass it to a simple LLM block. The only job of this one is to write a concise summary of all that information, and that's what we use in the beginning of the report as a summary. And then we create PDF. So we use HTTP request that we send to another third-party tool. It's called PDF endpoint. You can use it for free. Up to 100 conversion from HTML to PDF, absolutely free. So I created API token. You can copy all this information from the API docs. Here is the URL. Then we provide header with authorization and our API token. And as a body parameters, we are sending a few different fields. First one is HTML, and I will show you it in a second. But then we also send in margin top, margin bottom, margin left, and margin right? Because we're going to be converting this HTML into PDF, and this is a printable PDF. So we want to set up margins of this page. That's going to make it look much nicer. And you set it up in millimeters. But let's go into actual HTML. So here we kind of start with a template. So we set up all the styles that we want it to be, what typeface we want to use, line height, colors, margins, what the size of headings we're gonna use, all these things. And if you don't feel very comfortable with this, you can just ask AI to generate this for you. And then in a body, we're using two variables that we created previously. One is summary that we generated with LLM, and then combine reports. This is what we combined from our spreadsheet database. And we're basically done. We created this PDF, but we need to return URL to this PDF to our main agent so it can send it to us. The way it works is that main agent receives the data, which is an output of the last node of the workflow. And this is the output of this node is what our AI agent is going to grab. So far, we've learned how is our AI agent structured under the hood, how it talks to us through Slack, how it creates this shell for a report, and then when it's shell filled out with data, how it converts this data into a nicely formatted PDF report and sends it back to us. So time to look into the data itself. How does it research and write those report chapters? For this, we have our scrapers tool. I'm not going to bore you with a detailed walkthrough of each one of them individually, but there are a few of them that work uniquely. And so what I'm going to do is to show you the types of scrapers we have and how they work. Let's start with the first one. It's a news scraper. And here the setup looks exactly the same as for any other tool. Name, description, and a few fields that our workflow is expecting our AI agent to send. In this case, it's a company URL and company name. Let's open the workflow itself and see. So here, it starts as any other workflow that I'm going to show you today. It starts with when executed by another workflow by our AI agent. And then overall, what it does is it uses Google News to scrape news from it and passes it to our LLM model to analyze those news and write HTML report for them. And after that, our LLM model saves that report within the correct cell in our spreadsheet database. So to scrape Google News, we use HTTP request, but we also need a third-party tool called Apify. Google News and a lot of other social media platforms that we're going to use, they all are pretty protected, and it's hard to just scrape them easily. So we use a third-party tool to do that. The tool that I use is called Apify, and I would highly recommend it for anyone. As you can see, I use it quite a lot. It's pretty cheap, and all scrapers that I used here, they're all usage-based. So you only pay for the results that you are receiving. Here's our Google News scraper, and I will show you how to set it up. So first, you can just test it within the tool. You can provide a keyword that you are searching for, set up your conditions, less than a month, or how far do you want to go back with this news? Are you looking for a news of specific language, and maximum number of results that you want to get? Let's say 30. Sounds pretty good. You press start, and a minute later, it shows you the results right here. We want to use NA10 and API to get exactly the same information. Okay, what we're gonna need is run actor synchronously with input and get dataset item. So this is an API documentation, and this API documentation that is universal for Apify in general. So regardless of which specific scraper you use, the flow is going to be exactly the same. So it's worth learning how to do that. You're going to need your token, your API token, and then you're going to need to provide API actor ID. They call their scrapers actors, so that's a actor ID, and then the specific JSON body of your request. So let's start with API token settings, API and integration, and here I have API token already created. You can create a new token here. Now I just put it here. Actor ID, you go back to this page where we have an actor that we selected, and everything between actors and input, that's actor ID. And for body, because we already created this request here, we can just copy it. Okay, send API request, so you can test it right here. And on top of our request form, there is a code for it. You can copy this code, you can use import curl, and just paste it here. And it will automatically fill out all these fields with the right data. So it will put URL, it will provide the right header parameters, your authorization token, and your JSON here as well. Output of that is that we are getting 30 news, and they're structured as a list of this individual blocks, right? Individual variables for every news. We have title, description, published, and link and image. What I'm going to do next is I want to simplify this a little bit. I actually want to have just 30 blocks of text that has title, description, and published date. That's the only thing that I care here. So I created a set field and merging together all that information, right? We're getting these nice blocks that we're going to be analyzing. Then we use aggregate component because we want to bring those 30 individual pieces just in one long list. And then what I do is I'm merging them together in one text. So here I have 30 different individual blocks. Here I have one text. And the way I did it here is by using a little bit of JavaScript that basically merges all those components together in one text. And I pass this text to our LLM model. And the prompt looks like this. And the prompt for every other scraper is going to look very similar. I'm setting up it with a role. I'm asking it to analyze recent news, extract only meaningful company-specific business update. I give it context, and I give it some guidelines, and I provide it with example output format. So I actually want to receive HTML structured file, and you can see it says H2, recent business development, H3, strategic moves, H3, new products, and then list between that. I also specify not to use emojis, don't put HTML in front of this text because that's what I see it doing all the time. I went telling it start with H2 right away. After that, we pass the output of our analysis, recent business development, expansion, like it analyzes all the news, formatted it in HTML, and we take this and save it in our news cell. Okay, next let's look at the YouTube scraper. Exactly the same setup, name, description, things that we are calling. I will open the workflow. This workflow is a little bit different. We don't use API. We're not trying to scrape YouTube. Instead, we're going to use the official API. But first, what we need to find out is what is actually the name of the channel. We know the company name. We found the company website, but what's the channel on YouTube? And we're gonna use our Tavily search again. I'm not gonna kind of go into the details. You've seen how we used it before, but what we want to get as a result is a list of their potential YouTube channels. By the way, let me first run a test run of this flow so we have data to work with. Here you can see now in our query, we are asking for company name, so OpenAI in this case, and we search including domains. We are searching for results with a specific domain, which is youtube.com. And we got about, I don't think we specified how many results we want. So we got one result, OpenAI YouTube, another result, OpenAI YouTube. Actually, looks like all the results are from just YouTube having like different ways to format the URL. That's not always the case. So that's why what we do next is we are splitting out these results and basically converting them into the title, tagline, or something that information about the channel, and plus URL. And we got 5 items, and now we aggregated all these 5 items and merged them into one text. You will see this pattern of searching for a company name and blog, or company name and YouTube channel. Like a bunch of scrapers do something like this, and that always follows this operations where we just like unbundling this array of search results and bringing them into one block of text that we are passing to our LLM to extract URL. So you can see we have text here, and as a main prompt, we say, find the official English language YouTube channel URL for company named, and we pass the company name from here. Return the absolute URL. We need absolute URL. We don't want it to kind of just give backslash name of the company or name of the channel. We want to pass this to our YouTube API. But the problem is that YouTube API actually doesn't want a channel name, it wants channel ID. And I researched a little bit how to get it, and I found that the page, YouTube page itself of the channel contains this channel ID. So what I use is HTTP request, just a get HTTP request of that channel page. You know, I put some headers here to pretend that I am actually real users and not just a bot. And I received the HTML code of that page. And from that code, I have this little function, JavaScript function, that extracts a specific pattern. And it allows us to identify this ID, and that's a channel ID. Now, when we identify the channel ID, we can use our YouTube node. And you can see N8N has this YouTube node. We're going to use this get channel. You need to create your credentials, and it's similar to any like Google Drive credential. You go to your Google Cloud console, you need to enable YouTube API, you need to copy your client ID and your secret, and then you have your account, and you pass channel ID from the previous node, and you can select what information you actually want to get. I'm interested in statistics, and it's things like number of views, number of subscribers, and branding settings. This is like description of a channel. And then to get videos, we are actually using RSS node, and the URL that I'm providing is this base of a URL, and then that channel ID that I have. So this way we got like 15 RSS blocks, right? Here's a result. One of these variables contain URL, YouTube URL. So now we can use get video node and pass and request that specific video. I'm not using the entire URL. I need to identify ID for each URL. So each video URL contains this ID, and there is a little bit of regex going on here that I use to cut away this ID and pass it. And for videos, I'm looking at snippet data and statistics. So in snippet, we have video description and stats. This is video views, likes. After that, I combine all that information. So what I want to, for each video, I want to get when it was published, what's the title of the video, what's description, URL, number of views, likes, comments. And I receive 15 of those, right? 15 individual blocks. And it's doing exactly the same thing that we've done previously. Now we aggregated them from 15 blocks into one block containing 15 texts. And then we are merging these 15 texts into one giant text. And we pass this text to our LLM model, and it has a prompt that basically knows a channel URL, and it tells it that it's a YouTube content strategy analyst, and it needs to write a report and provide it in HTML format. Of course, you can update your prompt the way you need. This is your opportunity to adjust and tweak this workflow for yourself. And once we're done with that, we're just passing it to our spreadsheet and saving it. Let's quickly go to the next one. So the scraper, the X scraper, LinkedIn scraper, the scraper, X scraper for social, and Reddit scraper, they all use API. And if you want, you can click on it and basically see that they are all exactly the same. They just request different API URLs. And the good thing about using API for everything is that updating this becomes very easy. You can copy and paste it from one workflow to another, and the only things that you will need to update is the ID of the actor, as if you remember, that's a thing that you have here. And then, of course, your API is going to be already set up correctly if you are copying your own HTTP request that you just used for a different scraper. And then, of course, you will need to update a JSON body. That makes it very simple to operate. And then everything else is going to be exactly or very similar to any other scraper. I think the uniqueness of this Reddit one is just that I set up filter here to check that the thing that I'm analyzing, it's not a video, it's not an ad, and it has like one upvote. Okay, so now we clear with API scrapers. I will show you review scraper. Review scraper, I don't use API for. I use a little bit of code to extract a domain name from this company URL. So I need shopify.com. There is a function to extract domain name, extract URL. You can just add it to your variable, and it will extract a domain name from it. But unfortunately, it's going to miss www, which works fine in majority of the cases. But the reason why it's important here is because all TrustPilot reviews pages, they're all structured the same way. It's trustpilotreview.com, and then it's this domain. And of course, this domain doesn't have www. It's just the last part of that domain. So that's why I wanted to do that, to do this way. Here, as you can see, we're just using a typical get HTTP request, and we're scraping all HTML from that page. After that, I'm turning that dirty HTML into Markdown. It makes it a little bit cleaner. It's clean enough for us to pass it to our LLM model. We ask it to extract company name, rating, number of reviews, and also generate a report identifying key opportunities for improvement. I give it example of output, so it knows that I want to receive this HTML code. At the end, we're just saving it to spreadsheets. Okay, and the last scraper I want to show you is brand analyst scraper. The main part here is this get screenshot request, and let's just run this test workflow and it will show you what happens. But here we use another API. We use this actor called website screenshot generator. And you provide it with URL and specify what format you want. You can even specify the size if you want to scroll or not, and it returns an image. So let's go back and see if we received it. So here you can see it it took our Shopify URL and it has this screenshot URL. So it saves it somewhere at API. That's a Shopify website. And then it passes this text and this URL, I believe. Where's the URL? Here is screenshot URL. It passes it to our ChatGPT 4.0 latest model. And those 4.0 models were multimodal, so they can work with text or images. And so it analyzes this image itself and writes HTML report for it that it passes to Google Spreadsheet. Well, that's it. I hope you've learned something new today. And really, let me know in the comments if you are interested in making this agent even more powerful. We can add flexibility to it, make it more dynamic, so it actually considers what reports would be useful based on the type of the company it is. I think it would be an interesting project to build, but I want to make sure that someone actually wants to see that video. So let me know in the comments. Okay, see you.